learned some stuff yesterday. Did you guys know, before we get into the show, did you guys know that Dr. Phil was an early investor and was one of the creators of Chime? A lot of people are not even familiar with what Chime is. Chime is an online banking profile, and my daughter actually uses Chime. So yeah, I didn't know that. And he was telling me, and so we got into a deep conversation. We were sitting there talking, and he was asking me about my investments and stuff like that. And so he started giving me some game, and some of the stuff I'm not going to tell you, but he was giving me some game, and he was like, yeah, you know what Chime is and stuff like that. Yeah, I said, so I started breaking it down because he was asking me about my background, and I was telling him I'm a software engineer, and we started talking a little bit. And he was like, yeah, me and my son is one of the early, I think he said his son. Me and my son was one of the creators, is the creators of Chime. And then he started telling me, he was like, yeah, at one point it was at a $50 billion valuation, but then it goes up and down. He's just talking casually. Talking about billions with a B. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Billions with a B. Just to even be in the room to have him, it was just me and him talking, and we was the only people over there, but just to be able to sit there and have a conversation, an extended conversation, where he's breaking down all of this insight and information. I'm a student. I'm at that point, right? Because what I do on a show and what I perform and what I execute on based off of what me and the producers talk about is completely different than the conversation and how it is that I interact with when it's somebody that's actually got more insight in the room, right? And so when he's breaking this stuff down, to me, I'm looking like I'm a fly on the wall. I'm not trying to get my stuff off. I'm not talking tough. I'm not doing none of that. I'm 100% a fly on the wall. Why? Because now the teacher becomes a student when you run into a bigger fish. You know what I'm saying? And so he's exposing me to some stuff and he's telling me some stuff, and I'm just a sponge. I'm a sponge. You got to know how to move around certain people and how to read the room and when the information is coming. And he wound up giving me a whole tour. And then I wound up finding out that he got a whole studio in there that they're, man, listen, bro. Look, bro. Look, bruh, it's different. Dr. Phil is on some, he on a whole, it's a class war out here. When I tell you it's a class war, I'm telling you that it's a class war out here. It's a different type of money that's playing. That gave me motivation. It gave me more motivation. You know how I come on here and I might show my receipts or I might show my watches or stuff like that, or how it is that I'm living and having a conversation. It's another level. It's like 27 more levels that we can get to. And so I'm going to bring y'all along for the journey, and all of the information that I learned, I'm going to give it back to you guys. And that's why we got the Bag Chaser. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Man, I got so much content that I'm dropping. I got a mastermind session coming next week. Actually, it's not even next week. This week after next. Real estate session coming next week. This week we got Stock Club. I'm also dropping a video of my 8 sources of income, so I'm going to break that down. It's so much game and information. And as I learn it from different people, including my mentors, and then I run into other people, and as I continue to build these relationships, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you the information. So shout out to everybody that's getting it. Oh my God, bro. Pure motivation. And you know what the difference is? You know what the funny thing is? And we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. You know what the funny thing is about all of this? Is that when I talk my stuff and I start to give information, of course, the majority of you guys, because the majority of you guys are bag chasers, you embrace it. But then there's a segment of people that get angry and say, shut up, God is going to humble you. And I be thinking to myself, don't you know there's people out here with $20 and $30 billion and $6 and $7 billion? Don't you know there's more billionaires that's been made this year than any other time in history? Man, it's 1,700 new millionaires every day. Miss me with that dirty, dusty talk, God gonna humble you stuff. Man, listen, bro, it ain't even nothing. We so small-minded. And it's not until you get in a room full of big dogs. Now I remember the first time that I met Dr. Phil. I think it was last year. And I first pulled up to their cars, and him and his wife, because his wife is always at the studio. I think she was driving a Ferrari, and he had the Mulsanne. And he's still working. He's still working. How old is Dr. Phil? Let me find out how old Dr. Phil is. 74. Born in 1950. And y'all still talking about, oh man, I'm trying to retire early. We need to spend more time. Man, that dude doing what he want to do. He's still running up a bag. He getting it for his kids and all of that. He's 74 and he retired from the daytime show, started the nighttime show, created a bigger media company and is running up a bag and still investing. He going over and telling me about how he, you know what I'm saying, still diversifying his portfolio and pulling over. And I'm over there, I'm taking mental notes because in my mind, as soon as I get back to my dressing room, I'm going to be writing that. I wrote everything down that he told me. He's 74 and he still get it. Warren Buffett is like, what, 90? And he's still getting it. And I'm supposed to be, we so dumb. We so silly and dumb. We over here fighting over scraps, talking about how we want to retire and live in Tulum and all of this other dumb stuff. And man, there's people out here completely taking over the world. They're taking over, they making power plays. It ain't even about money no more. It ain't even about money no more. It's a power play at this point. And we sitting here, you got time as your broke self to sit here and tell me about how I need to humble myself when you need to be spending more time competing. How are broke people, why do broke people have opinions? How? If you broke, there should be a switch or some kind of cloud update to where if you broke, you shouldn't be able to comment certain things. Somehow we gotta make sure that we institute artificial intelligence to, if you are broke, if you are below zero, if you're not even at the start line, if you haven't taken a Dave Ramsey baby step number 3, then you should not even be able to comment negativity. You should not even be able to say a negative thing out. You don't have no time to do nothing but climb out of the hole and stop digging. Broke people should not be able to comment on anything. They should just only have to listen. They shouldn't even type. The only thing that broke people should be able to do is put a question mark at the end of whatever sentence they put. No periods, no exclamation points, no commas, no nothing. Broke people should only be able to put up question marks. That's it. They should not be able to comment, give their opinion, or even say anything negative about nobody else. You don't have no time. You don't have no time. When I was broke, I didn't have an opinion. I was like, I was just listening. I didn't have no time to be sitting there commenting. I couldn't comment. Because if somebody said, all right, well, what you got going on? Well, what's up with you? Then you got that big old go. How do I, honest to God, I am so confused. Give me a second to get this on. We're going to get the whole show popping. Don't worry about it. How do broke people have opinions? That is the weirdest thing that I've ever experienced in my entire life. How? How can you have an opinion and you dusty? That is weird to me. You have zero energy for anything except for pouring into yourself. Then we want to hear your opinion. But by the time that you start to get some money, you ain't even on that no more because your perspective changed because you understand the game now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how could somebody that's a virgin comment on what women want sexually? Like, it don't make sense. How can a baby, how can somebody, an adolescent that never actually had a job before, tell you about how toxic corporate America is? How can a 22-year-old be a life coach? How can you tell us how women feel when it comes to ovulating or having a baby and you a man? It don't make sense. Some of the things that we sitting here debating about be so dumb. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. This is a million dollar conversation. What's your net worth? $13? You need to be in the audience. You don't need to be giving a TED talk. You can't give a TED talk when you worth $13. I can't sit here. That would be like me telling Dr. Phil how it is that he needs to adjust himself in order to be a better media personality. Man, I ain't had nothing. When he started, listen, I did my thing on that stage. And when he started talking, I was not about to interrupt him. I was like, I wanted to say something, and I was like, my inside said, put your listening hat on. I'm not about to interrupt this man on his own show. What? And then he wound up agreeing with me. He was like, yeah, you know what, Anton is actually right about this. He's just a little abrasive. He started talking, and I was like, okay, well, I had my time. You got to take advantage of the time that they give you in order to get your rocks off, right? So I had my time, and then once he started speaking, I was like, okay, so let me sit back and enjoy the ride. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to being the number one person in the room as far as doing the most talking. I said, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the ride. Then he started talking this beat talk. I said, aliens? What? Aliens? What did you put an M in front of that, or did you put a B in front of it? I'm used to hearing about millions. When you put a B in front of it, it's a little different. Then you really swallow your pride. You just shut the fuck up. What I'm tell? Hey, you need to diversify your portfolio. He said this. I'm gonna say this last part, and then we're gonna get into the show. He said, how many properties do you got? I said, well, first of all, I felt a little small saying the number. The number didn't hit the same on the Millionaire Morning Show as it do on the Millionaire Morning Show. The number didn't hit the same. I said, yeah, I got 17 properties that I own outright, no mortgages. I had to throw that part on there to make it, because people just say doors is a little different. Had to put a spin on it. No mortgages. And then I got 3 properties that's in development right now because I'm starting to get into home building. And it's in there. He was like, yeah. He was like, oh man. He said he was so excited for me. He said, that's great. He said, one day you can get to 1,700 properties. Honest to God, on my father's grave, he was like, yeah. He said, if you keep going at this same pace, by the time you get to my age, you can get to 1,700 properties. I just shut the hell up. I didn't say nothing. I don't add no more spice to it. I was so quiet until he asked me a question. I didn't speak unless spoken to at that point. I didn't speak unless spoken to. He gave me some extra stuff. He told me to call. At that point, you don't speak unless spoken to. You got to read the room. You got to understand that it's levels to this. It's always going to be somebody that got more game, got more money, got more insight, got more information, and you shut up. You shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I'm going to rename this show to Shut Up. Shut up. Shut your mouth. Shut your black, broke mouth. Shut up. Just shut it down. Anyways. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, and I don't do any financing. I just do all cash. I was looking at the producers. I was looking at the assistants. I was looking at all of the people that was around. And I was thinking to myself, y'all just let this man just walk around all day and y'all not actually trying to steal all of this information from him? Honest to God, I was disappointed. I said, so when do you actually be asking questions? They was all casual. Oh, that's just Doc. That's just Doc. No, that's not Doc. That's Dr. Phil with a B, with the big B, not the little B. Y'all just hanging around people that's got all of this game and this wisdom and y'all ain't soaking it up. The heck is going on? Anyways, neither here nor there. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. I'm sorry, I went on a little bit of a rant. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. There's levels to this. You know what I'm saying?